The headlines have been juicy, to say the least. Juicy, that's my word now. Juicy. A lot going on. Donald Trump says he'll talk to Maduro in Venezuela. The Epstein files or lists or whatever that is could be released today. I warned people about this. Democrats, careful what you wish for. Larry Summers is wishing that it had never come out, I'll tell you that. His association with Center for American Progress. Woo, these active Democrats who had ongoing relationship with Epstein, that's a problem. And, of course, the feud. Joining me now is Dr. Steve Turley, internationally recognized scholar, speaker, and author who has amassed over 1.2 million subscribers on YouTube and so much more. Turley, welcome back.
So, Stephen, great to be back with you. I love how you put it, the feud. That's like
feud.
The new movie out for Christmas or something like that.
Well, let's start right there. Look, the president has withdrawn his endorsement of Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now, look, she has been a longtime supporter, one of the most vocal supporters of MAGA, of America First, of Donald Trump. And they're at this crossroads, and the crossroads came because of Epstein. But I think, and we talked about this briefly in the break, I think this will reconcile itself. It has to.
Yes,
we don't have time for distractions. We've got people like Mamdani winning in New York, Katie, whatever her name is, won in Seattle. These Democratic socialists, this is metastasizing right in front of us, and we can't fight it if we're divided, can we?
That's an excellent connection. I think that's really important because this feud could, if it continues and gets deeper, signal a stress point in the Trump coalition. Remember, we have to remember the Trump coalition is not the Republican coalition. In fact, that's what makes it so hard to translate the enthusiasm for Trump into enthusiasm for Republicans. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, as does someone like Tom Massey and so forth, they do appeal to the disaffected independent populist voter, the low propensity voter who feels completely disenfranchised by the system. And Trump is risking alienating that wing of his coalition. So this rift could represent a larger rift in the coalition. It was interesting that you're seeing a number of Democrats right now saying to MTG, come on over to our side. We're the true populist resistance, right?
That's not going to happen.
But that's the precise kind of messaging we saw with Mamdani, or more recently with the Seattle mayor. If the populist right disappoints, not all.
You hit the word.
But some disaffected voters will move to the populist left. That's
right.
what we're seeing in Europe. It's a very fluid. Here's
what I'm saying,
from
Turley.
left to right.
Here's what populist is the word. It's not conservative. It's not liberal. And somebody's going to win in the 26th election, 28th election. It's going to be a populist on the left or a populist on the right. That's the question. Because it all comes back to affordability and things of that nature. Can people get a mortgage? Can they pay for a used car? Are they going to worry about buying groceries over prescription medications? It's about affordability, and it's especially about affordability for people 18 to 30 who feel they've been disenfranchised and ignored. That's where it's going to break, Turley.
Yep. No, you're absolutely right. And they moved over dramatically to Mamdani. We have some polling that shows that about 10% of Mamdani's voted for Trump back in 2024. So there was a Trump Mamdani voter. And the key there is if they're populist, they're not thinking in terms of left and right. That's what we have to understand. The divide is not a horizontal divide. It's a vertical divide between the people and a corrupt permanent political class. And if it's a vertical divide now, the populist right is very strong, but if they disappoint, they will easily navigate over to the populist left because as far as they're concerned, they're on the same side.
Exactly, it's the same plane.
Against the establishment. Exactly, they're on the same
That's exactly
plane.
right, because here's what Trump tapped into in 24. Working class people who also thought they were ignored and didn't have a chance. Mamdani tapped into the same vein, just different spot on the same vein.
In an urban environment. Exactly.
That's exactly right. So Republicans have to focus on affordability. That is it. And Donald Trump's doing it. I think this house savings account idea is brilliant. I do. Send the money to the American people so they can choose their own insurance, their own doctor, their own medical coverage, and make those insurance companies fight for your business. It'll lower costs and improve services, and the insurance companies whose profits have gone up 8 and 10 times since Obamacare came on the scene will no longer be filching and fleecing the American people.
Exactly. And the money's going directly to the people. So it's very tangible. They can feel it. They can see it. And like you said, they could shop around. As I understand it, the less money you make, the more you get. I mean, it's across the board perfect. And it will solve the problem.
Yeah. It will solve the problem. It'll make healthcare more important. So I got to move. We got to get a couple other things in here. So there's that. Check that off the list. Blowing up, I've been on a lot of charter boats in my life, fished a lot in my life. I've never seen a charter boat that had big barrels of chemicals, 55-gallon drums of chemicals. So let me assure folks, these are not fishing boats, okay? And I think most Americans are behind this. Now Donald Trump says, I'll speak to Maduro, I'll talk to anybody. That's the thing about Donald Trump. He will talk to anyone. Yeah. Right? Yes. That's important. It's an important step to get things figured out, isn't it?
It is. And yes, a very important point is these boats tend to be characterized with engines, very powerful engines that could cost anywhere from $13,000 to $50,000 each. These are hardly your typical Venezuelan families out for a little sail. Yeah, and I think you're right. Blowing up these boats are rather popular. Atlas Intel has the policy at 53% support, only 35% oppose it. So the public does tend to support this, shall we say, no tolerance policy of smuggling cocaine into the U.S.
Well, hold on. See, that was a funny thing, Turley. These people are like, that's not fentanyl, that's cocaine, as if that's okay. I mean, that's the argument from the left. Oh, that's only cocaine. Then bring it on in. Let's go to the let's go to the party. Let's go to the disco.
That's why, yeah. No, you got it. That's just so absurd.
Crazy.
It is. It's part of their 80-20 doom loop. They're always siding on the most unpopular positions. But, Data Republican, she was part of Doge. She has a really strong Twitter following or X following. She does all of this research in terms of these network connections and NGOs. She's making the argument that the strategy of taking on Venezuela as one of these rogue, authoritarian regimes actually lines up with taking on the globalist networks as well, because they both tend to align themselves with a shared common goal, and that's undermining American sovereignty. So one of the reasons why Trump is harassing Venezuela so much, she thinks, is actually in the end to get some info on Soros and this larger NGO globalist network around the world. So it'll be interesting to see if that's the case, if she's right on that. Then this isn't some distraction or side issue. This is actually part and parcel of bringing down the whole globalist complex.
Part of the main event is what you're saying. It's part of the main event. It's not something out here fringe. It's part of the middle of the road. So the question that I've asked people, and again, go to stevegruber.com, send me an email today, because I am curious where you live, what your thoughts are about an active war in Venezuela, which has also been discussed, or would you go after the cartels in Mexico? Those are big questions, Turley.
Yes. Yeah, they are. They are. And again, and the president of Mexico is finding out big time what happens when the Gen Z generation ends up rising up against these narco-terrorist administrations.
It's ugly in Mexico City right now. All right, we got Dr. Steve Turley. Stick for a moment, Turley, because here's the next name on the list. Let's see. What's his name? Oh, Epstein. Yeah, we'll talk about that in just 2 minutes here. Dr. Steve Turley here on the Steve Gruber Show. We'll be right back. All right, back at it now. And, of course, the House is going to vote today on release of the Epstein list, files, whatever it is. Turley's still with me, Dr. Steve Turley, of course. And the first casualty, I've been telling Democrats for a while, look, I played a clip here yesterday of Donald Trump in 2015, just after he announced his run for president the first time, talking about Prince Andrew. We don't have to call him Prince anymore, by the way. That's just Mr. Windsor. And Bill Clinton being tangled up with Epstein and that island that Trump said was a cesspool and a big problem politically, potentially for Hillary Clinton. He's been calling it out since 2015. He's not entangled at this. They can fantasize about it all they want. But Larry Summers, big guy in Democratic circles, a guy who's hated Trump forever, part of the Center for American Progress. I've been warning Democrats, careful what you wish for. Larry Summers was trying to get dating advice from Epstein for years, apparently, Turley. It's just like, how bad does that look? Well, we lost Turley for a moment. We'll get him right back up. He froze there just for a second. That's technology for you. But Larry Summers, if you missed it, the emails were released, 23,000. The Democrats try to cherry pick 3 to say, look, this is Trump, makes him look bad. No, Trump doesn't look bad. The Democrats are going to look bad in this deal. The vote is coming today. Expect a lot of Republicans to vote for the release as well. But 7 years were the correspondence between Larry Summers. He's a big Democrat operative, is Larry Summers. He was going back and forth with Jeffrey Epstein. When I say dating advice, he was dating this woman. He kept getting advice from Jeffrey Epstein on how to handle the dating, how to move forward, right? I mean, here it is. And like I said, there he's back. I said, look, Democrats, careful what you wish for, because it's going to be names that are going to shock you. And some of them are like, no. Yeah, and so let's see. Larry says he's deeply ashamed, Turley, deeply ashamed. And he's pulling back, right?
Right, that's right. Because he got caught. That's
Yep.
why. That's why he's deeply ashamed. Yeah, I've for a long time. I'm with you. I've been following this for a while, going all the way back to 2016. I've always thought this is the Democrats walking into a trap. And if Trump pulls this off, which increasingly looks like he will, this will be the single greatest political 4D chess move I think we have seen yet. Because we have to remember, when all said and done, Epstein was a Democrat. He was a major Democrat donor who's hanging out with Democrats, not Republicans, but also in terms of how this unites the Trump coalition, right? We have to remember that the Trump coalition is primarily animated by a massive and growing populist sentiment that despises the entire political class, a radically corrupt establishment. And they see Epstein as the face of that elite corruption. So very few things actually unite the Trump coalition more than Epstein and how the files can be used to expose that corruption. And like you said, we're already seeing it. The latest drop that just came out are emails that show Barack Obama's inner circle. They had direct communications, repeated communications with Epstein. So Larry Summers, let that hit you. Our former Treasury Secretary was asking Epstein for dating advice. So it doesn't get more pathetic than that. He's officially stepping down, as you saw, the president of Harvard. Then we have Epstein in direct contact with the Democrat representative from the U.S. Virgin Islands, or delegate, I'm supposed to say, right, during a hearing.
Sending her, ask this, ask that, directly during the questions in front of the
interfering in congressional proceedings. It's insane. Right. It's nuts. So I think, they're getting caught more and more red-handed. Democrats are already coming out and saying that the Trump administration contaminated these files, that they deliberately fabricated and manipulated them because they know how bad they're going to look when they finally drop. And in the end, they have no one else to blame but themselves. But this will unite the populist sentiments of the Republican Party for sure.
I think that's true. And so for Stacey Plaskett, by the way, from Puerto Rico, was getting those text messages. It's going to blow up spectacularly in their face, I believe. Look, there's nothing to move around here. Trump threw him out. In fact, now there's a lot of evidence that Trump was one of the people that helped identify Epstein for the prosecution. The victim's attorneys thanked Donald Trump because he was one of the only ones that they subpoenaed that said, sure, what do you need to know? He was one of the only ones, right?
Exactly. That's what, yeah. And he was, if I recall, I think Virginia Giuffre actually worked at Mar-a-Lago.
She did.
She's, she's one of the most prominent victims who took down one of the most powerful men in the world, Prince Andrew.
And wrote in her book that Donald Trump was always professional and polite. It's the Democrats, careful what you wish for.
And under oath, in testimony, sworn testimony, said he had nothing to do with the inner circle of all the nefarious activities.
So if Bill Clinton gets pulled out here, the most infamous painting of all time, Bill Clinton in the blue dress in Epstein's mansion there in Manhattan. Does that not tell you everything you need to know about Bill Clinton's relationship with him and how many times, 27 times he was on the plane, something like that, right?
Oh, but also, have you noticed, Stephen, how quiet the Clintons have been this week of late? Just especially Hillary. They've been very, very quiet. And that's because there are congressional subpoenas to get them to testify before Congress. They've ignored them thus far, but they're not going to be able to continue.
Well, if you run a nonprofit, say something called the Clinton Foundation, and you're tangled up in something like this, and you've taken millions of dollars from the world, and this comes out, man, it's not just not just a bad look, it's criminal behavior. Last word to you.
It is. And again, that's the key. Nothing unites the Trump coalition like Epstein, because he is seen as the poster boy, the face of this corrupt political class. So if this really comes out, I think a lot of the tensions that we've seen over the last couple of weeks, I think will get resolved very quickly.
I think you're right. Dr. Steve Turley, always a pleasure. How do they find you?
They could go to our website, turleytalks.com, or just punch my name into YouTube, Dr. Steve Turley.
There you have it, Dr. Steve Turley. Always a pleasant and informative conversation. Turley, thank you.
Thank you, Stephen.
Greatly appreciate it. Very entertaining. When we come back, we'll have a quick wrap on sports with Brock Palmbush right here on the Steve Gruber Show.